Off and on the clock, week 17. We are here for you guys. I know when everyone is thinking about their best ball sweats, their season long championships, but we still have our eyes set on a 30K top prize in the battle royale. We got all kinds of contests in the underdog lobby, and Nez and I are here to walk through it, give you guys our lay of the land, our favorite ADP scroll down plays, our favorite ways to attack the slate. We'll hop in some drafts. We'll do some pick'ems. You know the drill. And maybe if John, is able to take, a few minutes away from his lavish cabin lifestyle that he lives, he'll join us. But for now, it's Pete and Nez holding it down here on Off and On the Clock. All right, Nez, little two-man pick and roll game going on here today. John, as always, smelling the roses. How are you doing?
Many, many roses for our guy, John. No, I'm doing well, man. Doing well. You just got done with your show a little bit ago with JM, and everyone's been talking about it. What is this slate, man? They're really trying to push us as content creators this week. It's been a rough week for us, but I'm excited the thumbnail is perfect. This is just like a slop it up week, really.
It really is. Yeah. Multiple games. Like you said, normally we look for games that are slop it up. This entire slate is slop it up. I was telling Zakarian earlier, I was like, it's a weird Friday where I'm more excited to draft NBA than I am NFL. But I will say, I have started to talk myself into liking some spots. I just did the show with JM. I was listening to Reeves and Hilo on Searching for Ceiling. I'm starting to find some angles. But I will say, one macro thing, Nez, I am thinking this might be one of the better double stack, game stack slates we've seen in a long, long time for the main BR.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense when you are trying to find ways to win these contests. It does seem like it can very likely come down to just one game getting home and having multiple pieces from that game getting home. And you don't normally say that about the main BR like that, but I think this week is clearly an exception where you just really want to try to get one game right and try to take it down.
That dynamic is compounded by the fact that we have very few naked quarterback options. Like on previous slates, you can play Hurts, you can play Jaden Daniels, as we see, hit last week. You just get the 36 ball, you get the 40 ball from Josh Allen. Obviously, we have Allen on the slate, but no Hurts. Anthony Richardson looks extremely questionable. Obviously, no Jaden Daniels on this slate. Like when I'm scrolling, if I have a team where I'm like, I don't have a stack I want to force, I got Calvin Ridley and Brian Thomas Jr. What quarterback am I taking? There's not a lot of options even for naked quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and honestly, given the grossness of the slate, I know recency bias is one of the best things about these contests. I can't believe Josh Allen is not 102 this week. Given how nasty this slate is, it really opens up the world of possibilities that exists on this slate if you start with Josh Allen at 2. So, spoiler alert, he's one of my favorite clicks on the board just because it allows you to just do different things here and potentially like a Josh Allen 30 burger could absolutely just be mega optimal this week. And it seems really likely against this Jets game. I think this is one of the more exciting games on the slate.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. Yeah, and there's lots of, there's two main ways to play it through the Jets. Obviously, Devontae Adams, he's dealing with a little injury, but should be good. Breece Hall, JM was kind of starting to get me a little stoked on this spot for him. And then obviously a lot of different ways to slice and dice the Bills. Yeah, I'm with you. I will not be fading Allen. I like him as a top 3 play. I do like Barkley and Jefferson a lot. I think the JT ADP is pretty hilarious. It's just we talk about ADP being super efficient on Underdog. And I know he projects well and it's a good matchup, but it's just the most classic guy drops 40, and then the next week he's the 102.
I know, and I want to laugh at it too, Pete, but he's playing the Giants, and man, oh man, are they just? There's so many teams that are just guys just playing for whatever they are playing for. But God Almighty, the Giants are just terrible. So I'm with you. I am going to be light on JT, but now that it's looking way more questionable that Anthony Richardson's going to sit. I mean, man, JT does look extremely appealing, and maybe it's just something that we do in pick'ems instead. Because I do like to mess around with JT in pick'ems, but
Yeah, I think like my truth serum take would be I'd prefer Barkley to him. Obviously, I'd prefer Achan to him. I'd prefer Jacobs to him, and then I'd have him like right there with like Bucky. I think that's like my non actual projection, just firing from the gut take of where
yeah,
I would take him.
I had him ranked 5 in my
Yeah.
in my early runs. So I'm not getting a lot of JT. So I'm with you.
Yeah. Let's quickly, let's do high level or like top plays at each position, and then we can dig a little
Yeah,
bit deeper. I mean, quarterback is extremely gross this week. I mean, Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold have been gems in my video when they've been QB 12. Baker's QB 2. Darnold is QB 3. Anthony Richardson might not play. Jordan Love just scored 11 points last week. Jalen Hurts didn't get a play. Tua's playing outdoors in the cold at Cleveland. I mean, what do we do at quarterback this week?
it's bad, right? Like it's so funny. Like this is such a different tone of the show. We're just like, who can we put? Who can we possibly play? We can hardly scroll this week. At least at quarterback, there's maybe like 2 or 3. I could maybe scroll to. But you talked about Jordan Love and his last game, putting up 11 points against New Orleans. That was clearly just 2 teams that are on very opposite ends of the spectrum in the NFL right now. New Orleans really a poor team right now, and the Packers, I think, are very clearly a contender in the NFC. And in playoff best ball, you're not really seeing this team so much. Jacobs is now like a second round pick, but I think this is finally a game where we get Jordan Love unleashed. And when we get Jordan Love slinging it, oh my God, man, just like obviously good for fantasy, but just like visually when it comes to watching football, some of the best football you can watch is Jordan Love with a green light and him just making these ridiculous throws off balance, fadeaways, and just absolutely dotting his receivers. This is a spot where I think we can see Jordan Love go nuts. You always have been talking about QBs against Minnesota. And, if Minnesota can push the pace here, and get Green Bay trailing, man, oh man, this could just be like the only game that you want this week.
I'm completely with you. I think, and the other thing that's awesome about it is, you look at, where Darnold's pass catchers are all going, right? Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson are drafted 100% of the time.
Correct.
Reed is drafted 100% of the time. Kraft is probably going to be more like 60, 70% range.
Yeah.
But then this is like the perfect BR spot because people don't know where the ball is going to go. We're probably not going to get Christian Watson. Even then, Dobbs isn't going to be 100% drafted. Wicks certainly isn't. Like, this is an awesome place to dial up both skinnies and doubles with Jordan Love and get a piece at non-existent ownership.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you want to do Jordan Love skinnies, like I think that's totally fine. You can get risky with the double, but you mentioned Dobbs. I think Dobbs is like fantastic. He runs so many routes, and with Christian Watson off the field, I think that's just obviously a huge boost for him. I doubt Christian Watson plays, even though they said they got good news. It just doesn't seem like it's worth the risk. So, Dontavian Wicks, everybody, like nobody needs an excuse to click his name, but he's not 100% drafted. So you can easily do a Jordan Love to Wicks and avoid the common pairing of Jaden Reed, which I think is a pretty good idea. We love Jaden Reed around these parts, but if you can get Jordan Love and get that right, but get a different receiver if it's not Jaden Reed, I think that's going to be really key. So mixing up Love with Reed or with Wicks, Dubs, and Kraft, I think would be my preference, and even Jacobs,
Yep. And I think that's going to be really the trick with kind of like the Baker and Darnold stuff is all of the pieces you want are getting drafted the majority of the time, other than Payne Durham now with Cade Otton out, he'll probably still, end up only like sub 30% drafted. So there's a little ownership discount there. But like, if you're dialing up these double, like, do I think Baker, Bucky, and Evans is bad? Like, absolutely not. Like, I love the spot, but I would be looking to find a scroll or get unique because there are going to be thousands of those combos out there in this contest, and you're going to have to find a place to get unique elsewhere.
And I mean, just on the topic of Baker, I think Baker's pretty easy to get unique this week, right? I mean, no one is Jalen McMillan. I mean, for God's sakes, please tell me every
Oh
time.
yeah, he's got an ADP of 28.9. He's getting drafted every con. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's yeah, that's what kind of slate. You can see here, even in the early draft caddy, he's at 77%. And I think that'll approach, closer to 90, but when we're all said and done.
Yeah, so I think thinking about that, like you mentioned, doing like a Bucky to McMillan potentially is a nice way to kind of make that a unique pairing. Are you reading the coach speak about this Rachaad White stuff and how he might not touch the ball, but his projections in the pick'em lobby look like he's going to have a better week than Bucky Irving? It's really confusing, and I don't really know what to do about it.
Yeah, I asked that to JM because how many times have we seen this year? My take on this backfield is it really is game script dependent. We saw the games that Bucky went off against the Giants, against Carolina. They are just rumbling on the ground. They don't need to be in hurry up, yada, yada. What do we see? They're in a tight game against the Cowboys. They're trailing. They're going to have Rachaad White on the field. Like they are not changing their tune in that regard. So if you want to play this like the last time they played Carolina and they're just rolling from above, or from a lead, then I love the Bucky stuff. But if you're playing this close, like you are not going to like your touch count on Bucky. And that's why I do think like the onslaughts are a little trickier. Like the more I think it through, like the Baker, Bucky, Evans isn't the comfiest correlation.
It's threading a needle for sure, right? Yeah, like they do get up and it is up early via Baker, and then it has to be all Bucky at the end. I agree. It's a tough needle to thread.
Luckily not, Mike Evans had the fake Q tag earlier this week, now completely off the injury report. AJ Brown, I believe, is now looks like that Q tag is gone. That was hanging around on him. Adams is kind of an interesting one, but he's back at practice. There's like no way Adams doesn't go out here and earn another 10 targets, right?
No, yeah, no shot. Like I said at the top, this is one of my favorite games. We were kind of missing some projections in the pick'em lobby because of this like lingering Adams DNP, but it was, in my opinion, just very clearly like veteran rest for Adams. So I think he represents a really nice pick against Buffalo, where we've seen Buffalo get lit up right by the Rams, who, I mean, the Rams are just a very confusing team, and it makes me wonder if the Bills are just actually just really not a good defense, and then they get lit up by the Lions as well, who are obviously a very good offense. It just makes me think that this game can really go off. Rodgers, no stranger to playing in the cold here. They're going to get pushed, right? The Bills are going to score at will, so they're going to have to sling it. I'm really excited about Adams and Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson cheaper than Jalen McMillan this week? I mean, I don't know, man.
It's crazy.
I don't know, man. I kind of like Garrett Wilson.
You get a little squeaky wheel, post game, getting asked, hey, how do you feel about not getting the ball? There is part of it that's just so, even when every time I click Brees, I know Garrett Wilson is a solid play, and it's just like all Rodgers wants to do is throw the ball to Davante Adams. It's like literally all he wants to do. And you think about, can Garrett Wilson get a big play? Can he score on a broken play? Absolutely. But like how you say all ties are going to the runner? All ties are going to Davante Adams. If it's close, the fade's going to Davante Adams. If there's any kind of like, both guys are open, it's fucking going to Davante Adams. And that is a mental hang up for me with Garrett Wilson's ceiling. I'm like, can Garrett Wilson drop 25 with Rodgers only having eyes for Adams? I do think about that.
I know, I get it. And I think everybody else is too, and that's why his ADP is so depressed. But when it comes to in a vacuum, who would you rather have, like Garrett Wilson or the 10 guys ahead of him? It's probably gonna be Garrett Wilson for me more times than not. That's just how goofy this slate is.
Let's hit a few other high-end names. I think one that's really interesting is AJ Brown with Kenny Pickett. And I don't know if this is just because I'm bag biased by having AJ Brown on my Chow Chow team, which for those of you guys who don't know, the Chow Chow is the flagship premier contest on Underdog, where I have AJ Brown. But like, I kind of like him having Kenny Pickett more than Hurts. Like Kenny Pickett locked into him 15 targets last week. Jesus. Are you getting to AJ Brown this week?
I think you can definitely tell yourself that Kenny Pickett is good for AJ Brown. You see this when guys come in, they just lock into their alphas whenever, QB2s have to step up. I like the spot against Dallas. I think that they're going to try to win this game and against a division rival. I don't think that they're going to really take their foot off the gas. Not that is necessarily AJ Brown's music, but I think AJ Brown's in line for a huge game. I would agree. I do have my concerns about Kenny Pickett, but we do know that if he's the ball is, I mean, the target share for AJ Brown was greater than 50% last week, I believe. I mean, just
In the
crazy.
other thing, we just saw this Dallas running game or Dallas defense, like, Bucky was running on them decently in the first half, but like this defense is solid. Like they're really
I
playing
know.
right now. I think the Eagles might be forced to throw even more than normal, even wanting to get Barkley all these records and stuff.
Yeah, my priors were that Dallas was not a good defense, and then the game against Tampa really shook me, and then by EPA, arbitrary endpoint, but from like week 7 to now, they are one of the top defenses in football, which like really surprised me. They did lose Trayvon Diggs, but I don't think they had him last week either. So like, yeah, they're just like better than I give them credit for. So yeah, they could end up be throwing a lot more.
Yeah, and I mean, the only other guy we haven't mentioned at the top end, and maybe nothing needs to be said, is Brian Thomas. I mean, his targets are absurd. The
Yeah.
matchup is awesome. Big playability, high target floor. I think you could. I mean, he deserves every bit of this ADP, and I have no problem even reaching for him a little bit here as well.
Yeah. No notes on Brian Thomas. He's clearly just everything and more that we thought of preseason. And God, he looks amazing. And Mac Jones is just feeding him like crazy.
As far as like high end tight ends, it's literally talking about Brock, a little bit of Jonnu. One of the worst tight end slates we've seen all year, which is saying something. I guess the main question with Bowers, right? And we've seen weeks like this where, McBride's at the top or whoever, and it's like, how desperately are you trying to get them on your team? Are you grabbing them at the 1-2 turn to make sure you have a ton of Brock Bowers, or are you okay like letting him go, so to speak, this week?
So I definitely want to have a lot of Bowers and Jonnu. I think Jonnu, has a pretty like Jonnu can match Bowers pretty easily. Not that I think that
Yeah.
they're similar skill wise, obviously, but Jonnu in a great spot with a great QB, obviously, and has had an awesome season. But I think Bowers and Jonnu. I mean, you can throw Hawk in there too, but Bowers and Jonnu, I think, are in a tier of their own, and I think should be priorities for everybody in drafts. We kind of talked about how tight ends struggle to separate. This is probably one of the best chances for tight end to separate in a strong, meaningful way this season than ever before. And it's not that like Bowers and Jonnu are likely to go for 25 or something. It's just that 18 points that they get where, in previous weeks might not separate enough. This week has the chance to separate a lot more, in my opinion. Like I think that their 18 could the next closest score could be 10 at that. I mean, it's such a bad tight end week that I think this is the week to really go Vorp crazy and get these tight ends in like 50% of your lineups.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've seen multiple weeks now in a row where you could win the big tournaments with 13 or 14 points at tight end. And that was with like a full slate and having 3 to 4 of the top guys. So yeah, I'm with you. And a lot of these guys, we haven't really seen much of a ceiling from Hawkinson. He's a game environment bet tied to Darnold. Tucker Kraft had a pretty nice game there. Who knows though? Like the one thing I haven't heard mentioned a lot with Tucker Kraft, like it was Luke Musgrave's first game back. Do we see his snap share
I know
raise a little bit? Does that complicate things? Like obviously I still like Kraft, but that's a note there. Chig has been on fire with targets, but that always feels fragile. And then, I mean, it's really dark. We've never seen a ceiling from Dalton Kincaid. Ferguson's kind of interesting to me, just as like the one guy who as like a proven commodity. We know he can earn targets, but the matchup isn't great. So yeah, man, it's tough at tight end.
I get the Ferg flow chart for people. No CD, trailing script, tight end 7. That gets a boost in my mind. Just the fact that the ownership's going to be way lower on him than everybody else. So I hear the comments on Ferg. You definitely have my permission to take a lot of Ferg if you miss out on these guys.
Yeah, for sure. But like you said, it is if you're looking for ceiling, it's pretty hard. It's pretty hard. And that's why, going back to what we said before, like, I think it is kind of a good week with like the double stacks. Like if you have a Baker, just like tacking on a Payne Durham, obviously if you have Allen, Kincaid is a really nice play there. And Tucker Kraft would love Hawkinson with Darnold, like any of those mixing and matching those games, I think is how I'll be playing a lot of those tight ends.
Yeah, that the I need to check out Musgrave's snap share. I'm assuming first game back it wasn't crazy, but that does like make me very uncomfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
he came back 20% of snaps. It was Tucker Kraft's lowest snap share of the season since week 3. The week Musgrave came back, that's like, I mean, I think that makes Kraft a really tough click. I mean, I know that this is going to be a fast-paced game. I think they're going to be passing a lot. Yeah, I wish Musgrave just could have waited until week 18 because that really throws a wrench in this situation.
Yeah, I'll pull it up here real quick on Fantasy Life, and you can see here, only 6 routes, but still, like that starts to be meaningful if that jumps up again here this week. I mean, the whole thing though with these tournaments, right? Like we are playing for ceiling. Tucker Kraft's still the better bet for a big play, better bet for a touchdown, but it is more fragile than I think the ADP and the game environment would indicate.
Exactly. That's where I come out on this is like I'd rather do Ferg, I think, than Kraft this week, all things considered.
Yeah, I think so as well. All right, let's do some scroll down gems here. And again, I mean, I messaged you guys when I was doing my video yesterday, and I was like, Lord, give me strength. Normally I'm like, oh man, look at all these, juicy target shares, top options that are going undrafted. And this week I was really digging the bottom of the barrel. We don't even have to do like position by position because it's just so thin. Like I'll just scroll down like past ADP, like 32. Sure. What kind of stuff have you been getting to late in drafts?
Well, you know me, I have like such a strong affinity for AOC. And I think Jacoby being really cheap in this matchup against the Saints has me pretty excited. I don't think anybody's gonna be looking his way. No one really cares about this game. It is in a dome. AOC continues to just go over whatever his projection is, for passing yards. He just always seems to exceed it. It's a great spot for him too to kind of sling it. So I think like doing Jacoby maybe paired with Brock and AOC just really try to capitalize on it can make a lot of sense. I think Jacoby is just a damn good player, and at this price in ownership, I think it makes a lot of sense. Like sub 50% drafted to me is that's calling my name.
Yeah. I like that call as well. It's a really nice flip on the Bowers ownership as well too. And we've seen their ceiling games be negatively correlated. Like they can both have good games, but normally it's one of them is really going giga and gets the touchdown. So on non Bowers teams, I think Myers is very interesting. We mentioned Ferguson. I like Rico Dowdle down here. I think Josh Downs is incredibly interesting. If we get Flacco, I mean, his ADP would move up, but we're probably getting to the point where his draft percentage is ultimately capped, and that's pretty intriguing.
Yeah, no, that's a really good call. Against the Giants, I like everybody against the Giants, but Downs with Flacco is like a real thing, and we could see some really fun a really fun game from Downs.
The one name that I'm just seeing here that I hadn't really thought about until right now, but Chris Olave is coming back in this slop it up fest here. You got to imagine if they're bringing him back, like he's not going to be limited. Like why rush him back? Otherwise your season's done. What do you think about Olave down here?
It's hard not to get excited about Olave. If he's playing right, I mean, God, like
full practice yesterday.
Kevin Austin, Mason Tipton, Cedric Wilson lining out wide for New Orleans. You don't think that Rattler's looking directly at Chris Olave? No Kamara either, most likely. Like, if Olave's playing like 80% of snaps, how is he not getting double-digit targets in this game? It just seems inconceivable that he's not getting peppered with targets in this if he's suiting up. And like you said, he's been full practice. It's not like, I mean, he's been practicing all week. Like, look, back to back, full practices. This is like, it's very intriguing on a slate this bad.
That's my thought. And I've only done a handful of drafts so far. I haven't clicked Olave yet because I was, doing some of these other scrolls we just talked about. But yeah, I think he needs to be a big part of BR plans. And again, worst case scenario on a slate, evergreen, like he doesn't play or they say he's not going to go. Well, guess what? Your swap is fine. Yeah. And man, like this is the slop it up fest, man. We already talked about the Raiders. It's pretty concentrated over there. Things are wide open on the Saints. Kendre's kind of interesting. I didn't have the stones to put him as one of my gems, but I think he's clickable. Juwan Johnson on a thin tight end slate is in play. Like, this game in the Dome could definitely get funky.
I'm going to have trouble staying away from Olave I am probably going to be a bit of a coward. Maybe not. Like you said, the swaps are fine. Yeah, I got to get to some Olave in the 6, man.
And honestly, no one's going to want to hear it, but the same thing, if we get Flacco, Pittman at 35.9 is a great click.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all these guys get huge bumps for Indy, honestly, even JT.
Yeah, like, just kind of talking through it a little bit more with you right now. The wide receiver scrolls are a lot better. I mean, look at this. Like, we're talking about Michael Pittman and Chris Olave versus like Jalen Wright and Tate Bigsby.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah. Like, my issue, the reason I didn't have like the stones to do Kendre Miller, and it's been an issue with some of the running back scrolls this week. It's just wondering like what the true ceiling is there. And when you look at the low team totals, not going to catch passes, you basically really need a big touchdown. You need like a 40-yard touchdown run for them to get there. Otherwise, the ceiling's capped. It's just really hard to find 20-point ceilings at running back late this week.
Yeah, and I mean, you have no more than a 50% snap share for Kendre Miller yet this season. Like, Jordan Mims getting work, Jamal Williams getting work. You even have in my Silva voice, Nick Underhill talking about Kendre Miller, and he said that Kendre Miller is not getting a lot of usage because he hasn't had a lot of reps with the team. So that ceiling does seem slightly limited. But yeah, I mean, it definitely seems like wide receiver is the place to scroll.
Yep. Completely agree there. And this is a slate where I think you are completely fine to backload your drafts. I mean, the only reason I'm drafting and will draft some tonight and tomorrow is just because I don't have the time to do them all on Sunday. But man, I think this is probably a pretty good slate to wait and backload your volume, just because there is going to be a decent amount of news. I don't think there's any CLV spots you need to really worry about. Sure, Josh Downs and Pittman will move up if Richardson's ruled out. But as JM was kind of telling me, the way Shane Steichen operates, kind of keeping the game plan close to the vest, making sure the Giants aren't knowing who to prep for. Like, we might not get that Richardson news until super late, which would be a really interesting dynamic. And to where I do think it would almost be worth drafting a batch of teams, as if it's Flacco, making sure you're getting to some Downs and Pittman, because the upside there relative to ownership is pretty massive.
Yeah, that's like the biggest, and that's like the biggest moving piece on this entire thing. So I think waiting is going to probably be my move, but like you said, there's only so much time to get these drafts in, and I'm not trying to auto too many if I can help it.
All right. Let's see here. We're going to get the Deposit Kingdom contest in the lobby here in a second. Let's see if it's up yet. Not yet. So it should be here in a second. Any other, I've been running into this with my show with JM.
I know, right?
It's hard to find other angles to talk about. I mean, the other thing that I was batting around in my head, I think this will be a particularly good week to steer clear of chalk ADP combos, right? And this is kind of an evergreen comment, that comes over from, salary cap DFS, especially on the gross slates, right? Where it's like chalk forms regardless of whether the slate is good or not. Correct. And that chalk is way more fragile. And I think the combos at the top of the board are going to be way more fragile than normal. Some slates, it's like, man, I'm sacrificing a ton if I'm sidestepping this really good tight end and running back at the 1-2 turn, the 2-3 turn to pair with my 101. This is going to be a week that I'm going to start to look at the ADPs really closely and be like, who is the field clicking with their 101s every time? Who is the field clicking at the 6-7 turn every time? Because I think those combos are going to be more fragile than normal.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, right? With like everybody feeling the same way we do, that this slate just does not have a lot of appealing options. You definitely want to keep a close eye on your combos. So yeah, just like take a screenshot of a draft board and or just like draft, like write out ADP yourself in draft style and see where this chalk is like forming heavily, because you're not going to want to overlap.
Yeah, and I like checking out if you guys are subs to the in-game syndicate. They have the 2-player combos. The data is generally a little wonky earlier in the week, and it gets more powerful as we get closer to lock. Some of the combinations always make sense, right? Like Addison with Darnold has the highest combo, makes a ton of sense. You're taking Addison, you backdoor stack him with Darnold, but then sometimes you'll see weird stuff of like, wait, why do 50% of Barkley teams have Cook? And again, I don't think there's enough data in here to have these accurate, but just using this as a guide, I think this is an interesting one of like, there are combos that people will inadvertently get funneled to. And it's really helpful to know which ones of those make sense. Quarterback to wide receiver makes sense. Which one of them are completely uncorrelated and that you might want to sidestep that combo.
That Barkley Cook one is interesting because I understand it, right? If I'm at the 101 and I take Barkley and Cook's back to me, knowing this RB slate, knowing this flex slate, I want James Cook. Are you kidding me? I'm snap taking James Cook. So if that's happening with frequency, you might just want to go to Chuba Hubbard, or Aaron Jones and just try to get the next best thing at running back, because that actually makes a lot of sense. And that's really interesting, because if James Cook happens to fail, which I don't think he will, but if he does happen to fail and Barkley gets home, like, damn, like that's half the Barkley teams have a low scoring flex. That's crazy.
And this is an example of, thinking through like the projection relative to bad shot combos. Like, think about this, James Cook and Aaron Jones, I kind of think of them as like similar types of players as far as the floor is pretty low. The ceiling is massive. There's a lot of fragility there. And so if every Barkley team or a good majority are going to have Cook, if you just pull up Aaron Jones, and this is just one specific example, Aaron Jones is going to be at the other side of the board, rarely going to be paired with that. You're not actually sacrificing projection, and you're gaining a lot having a unique pairing there. So I know this starts to get into levels of like, oh man, do I have to think about all of these different things? But on a slate like this, where it's like, there's not a billion scroll down options, there's not a billion things. I would rather start to focus on some of these micro details at the top and being like, if it's too thin to scroll this week to get my edge, what are other ways that I can do it? And I think these top combos is a really good one for this week.
Yeah, I love doing something like that. Thinking about the other side of the board that isn't commonly paired, and like you said, the projection sacrifice is not very great. You can do that at wide receiver too. You can do that with Davante Adams and say, you know what, let me take Davante Adams with Saquon, pair him with another player as well, as another way to do that too.
All right, let's see if we have the Deposit Kingdom. If not, we could hop in another. Here it is. Sweet.
Nice.
And I'll give you guys a warning right now. Next week, this contest is going to look a little different. It's going to have a little bit of, we'll have a Deposit Kingdoms contest. Don't get me wrong, but I disavow tournaments. Come the second the portfolio review is over on Monday, and I review my tournament teams from week 17, we turn the page and we become a cash game grinder. So unless you're looking to double doink it up with me next week, you better hop in and fill this tournament while we got a top heavy tournament structure up here, Des.
This is everybody's favorite time of the year. I know you feel the pressure mounted on you to have the bits ready. I know you don't even have to do the homework. They just, with a good poster, they just come naturally. But I always look forward to this week.
We shall see. My main worry right now for cash game week is I would really like to win on DraftKings this week, so I don't have to deposit a ton of money to accept head-to-heads all week. That is kind of my
forgot about that, because you always max them out, right? Like you literally, your 5s and 3s you can't max. Can't accept anymore.
It will be a test of like the ecosystem, and even the Deposit Kingdom League on Redacted this week is way behind pace to fill. Cash game interest, and again, you're only catching me saying this week. You will not hear me saying this next week. Cash game interest couldn't be lower, as a game format. Nobody gives a shit. They will next week though.
Yeah,
we will see if I get the same volume as I normally do. We will do our best. All right. We could save that for next week, though. You and John are going to get to deal with me on a very fun edition of Off and On the Clock. We got the 103 here. I like this spot in drafts this week.
I agree.
So we can kind of see what we cook up here.
Yeah. Jefferson 101. Interesting.
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I can understand it. I'm definitely a Saquon slappy, but I get it.
Yeah. Saquon falls. Let's pull the trigger.
Yeah, definitely. I would have liked to have done Josh Allen if we were between JT and Josh, but no, I gotta go Saquon there.
Yeah. Yep. So we get Barkley at 3, and I will just to kind of flip the conversation about reaching for combos. The second, and I've talked about this in a Deposit Kingdom video, the second I get a slight ADP value up top, I'm immediately saying I would like, in a perfect world, my pick at 10 to be the top ADP pairing
Yep.
because Barkley's not normally going to fall to 3. Can I get a player with Barkley? Obviously, if I don't like the player, if I think he's way overvalued, like I'm not going to force it. But that's immediately where my mind goes because uniqueness can come in 2 ways: by reaching and pulling something up, or by taking the value that the room gives you.
Yeah, like if we were to get handed Jacobs here, that'd be phenomenal. BTJ also looking pretty rare. Basically anything other than James Cook, we will definitely, I think, just like by default take, because
Yes.
especially in a small contest like this too, it's going to be pretty rare, I think.
Look at that. Yeah. So get Jacobs here.
Yeah.
So Jacobs falls and Barkley falls. That combo is going to be very unique this week.
Yeah, you're gonna be feeling the heat if you take down your own contest with a GM. They're gonna be on you, man, in the comments.
Hey, you can come. You can send me a head-to-head if you want to get your entry fee back next week.
There you go.
I do this a lot of times. It always cracks me up in drafts, like where you reach for the guy and then you just the other guy at the next pick. I do it all the time. We're like, let me lock up Bowers. Oh, and then I'll grab HN. I could have just done it the other way.
Yeah, it's funny.
All right, we're on the clock. Obviously, no more running backs available. Should we get our guy Adams?
I think so. Yeah, let's just take the best plays for now. We'll get unique later.
Because I would say there's a pretty clear tier gap when you go from Adams then down to like the Tyreek Reed neighbor stuff as far as target expectation.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that we got the neighbors practicing. So right now, I mean, he still got the Q tag, but did practice today, which is really, really nice because we are getting him at a discount. I mean, I hate that he's catching passes from Drew Lock, but I was worried about him last week, and he still, had a decent week, 12 targets. So this spot against Indy is also pretty nice for him. So I'm liking the discount on neighbors right now.
Yeah, I worry about like his ceiling.
Oh, so do I.
It's like such a weird thing.
Yeah, so do I. Like in salary last week, like I did not play him. I looked like the ownership was really high on him.
Yeah.
In salary, and I was like, no, thank you. No, like I'd rather just do Wandale. Like I feel like they have very similar ranges in that type of game there. And yeah, with Drew Lock, man, it's just such a shame. It just completely mushes his ceiling just so hard.
Yeah, it really does. All right, so Jonnu comes back to us. I was kind of sweating that. I like that.
That's awesome. I'm liking how things are.
I even bit my tongue when I was gonna say the ceiling. I was like, there's 2 more players that I'd be interested here before it's just the Wild West, and it was Adams and Jonnu. So man, this is a GM to the 4th power here.
Yeah, I can't believe Chuba is still here for turn me up at the 1-2. That's really, and he's I don't, okay, there he goes.
He just had to grab Reed. That's the classic. Let him know you're a piss boy.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, this is an awesome start. Now here's the tough part, landing this damn plane here.
Yeah. Like, how do we want to play? Let's grab our wide receiver.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have to do quarterback. It looks like. I like Adam Thielen. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Or you could even do the Wilson double, but I'm a fan of Thielen in this spot.
I am too. And you know what do they say when you get the GMs? We just can't drop the baby here.
Yeah.
We'll just grab Adam Thielen, bank our 8 targets, and move on our way.
And at quarterback, I would probably say Tua, but if you have Bryce Young on the mind, we can always do that. But I think Tua just has a lot of different ways to get home with Achane and John and obviously Tyreek.
Yeah, and this is a classic, small field versus large field thing for me. In the big BR, I'd probably just take Bryce Young here and try to get a uniqueness angle. In the small contest, I like taking Tua.
Yeah, I'll take the points with Tua against Cleveland. Who doesn't look good?
This is a fun team, man. Tua to Jonnu, the GMs at running back Barkley Jacobs get Devontae and Adam Thielen at wide receiver.
That's fun. I would draft that again.
Looks good. Are you doing a no strip stream tonight?
I am, yeah, but no offense to the slate. I think we're gonna do a lot of playoff baseball drafts tonight.
Yeah.
So that is happening at 10 Eastern. If you guys want to join up, become a badge bro, paid member, $5 a month. We do a bunch of paywall streams every week, and Friday nights are the no strip stream nights. So we're gonna do some gauntlets, some mittens, all that type of stuff, and sweat some NBA if I have anything to sweat.
I still have not broken my playoff best ball cherry.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, Davis can't believe his ears.
The play might be where I have like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde personality during cash game week, and half of my brain is working on the cash game shell and the other half is dipping their toes in the playoff best ball streets. Yeah. But yeah, no, I've had a singular goal, Nez, to win the NFL BR, and it's been hard for me to get my mind turned over to something else. And then my spirits were broken when I saw how bad this slate is. And now I'm pumping myself back up again. Earlier, I said I might not even max. No, we're going to max this week. We're going to get one more crack at this BR here.
If you don't mind indulging me, Pete, how's the Chow Chow looking?
The Chow Chow, so we can pull it up here. I was big bummed last night because I thought Charbonnet was one of my kind of sickest kind of levers to pull, and that did not work out.
You had the run out you needed too with no Walker. That's a damn shame against that Bears run defense, man.
So the thing that I like about this team is I feel like the my AJ Brown Drake London combo at wide receiver, like those two by themselves have to be so massively low owned in the finals, much less together. I obviously lose Tank Dell, but I got T Higgins here. I got Kittle at tight end, which I'm very excited about. I got James Cook, Chase Brown.
You almost had some mega Trey Benson leverage.
I know. That's why at the end of the week when this team got in and I'm like, Kenneth Walker got ruled out. James Conner's looking iffy. I'm like, holy shit. This thing might cook. You want to know the funniest thing about this team?
Yeah.
So this is a Brock Purdy, Joe Burrow team. I had Brock, Mason, Pearsall, Kittle. I had Burrow, Chase Brown, Higgins, Gesicki. So big bets there. And I said, I'm a week 17 is all that matters, bro. Let's get a little Denver bring back here. Let's grab Tim Patrick. He gets traded to the Detroit Lions, who play the 49ers. My bring back was live on my two stacks there. I mean, talk about running good.
This dude can't lose. Unbelievable. That's awesome. Your team's looking a little better than mine right now, I will say.
Are you in the chow or you're in the puppy?
Slow puppy.
Yeah.
So it's a fun sweat. It's 100K to first. That's awesome. But I have to thread some serious needles. So
you want to pull up it? You want to pull up on screen?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to share with the audience here because I am excited for it, but it's pretty thin, man. I'm not gonna lie. So I had Jared Goff. Oh, I have Jared Goff, and then I had Lamar going on Christmas. So that was exciting,
nice.
Right? But I also have this like mega stacked with Zay Flowers and Bateman and Aguilar, and none of those guys did anything. And then I have Rashee Rice here, but I'm one of 3 teams with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Okay.
So, hey, man, I mean, it's against the Rams and Marvin Harrison Jr. sucks, but I mean, listen, you want the low-owned guys in the finals, right? So I am like begging for Marvin Harrison Jr. and Jameson Williams to have good games because I don't have a flex at wide receiver. These guys have to score for me or I'm dead. I got Ferg without C
nice.
And Jonnu. Wow. So those guys could potentially flex for me. Like my biggest thing is I don't know where my flex is coming from. So that could potentially be a big help. And then at running back, I've got Gibbs and Chuba going, which I'm excited about. And these other healthy guys, but like they suck. But they are fully healthy.
Was Tracy back at practice? Because he was looking a little sketch.
Yeah, okay. He's unfortunately. I know. I was like, I was getting really excited about that against the Colts.
Full backfield motor.
Oh, that would have been crazy. But yeah, I mean, so like honestly, I'm excited about this team. I am letting myself get excited. However, like it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be a clean sweat because on Saturday, if Marvin Harrison Jr. does nothing, then like I can fully release from it.
Yeah. That's like the scariest thing of having, like these guys that are super low owned, the Marvin Harrison, the Drake London for me, right? Where it's like, it doesn't feel great. Like you'd rather be looking at Davante Adams or, one of these other guys. And then on the other hand, when you think about the ownership leverage, you do start to get really excited about what that could mean.
Yeah. I'm super excited. The funny thing is, the last point I'll make is that like with the Marvin Harrison Jr. teams that are with me, it's so funny because obviously he was a 1-2 turn pick. The overlap between myself and the other Marvin Harrison Jr. teams are crazy. So like we all have Gibbs, we all have Chuba, and we all have I think Jameson Williams too. So our overlap is kind of wild the way that works at the 1-2 turn.
I guess it does, I guess, make some sense if you think about like how teams get weeded out and how spike weeks fit. And then those players are going to be paired with like the similar type of ADP range as the other team. So it kind of makes sense that those would be similar.
It's kind of funny when you actually see it in practice, how it works out. So yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. I do have, I've got a little bit of a sweat, but it literally all hinges upon Marvin Harrison. So I like that. That's my one singular sweat. And if he does well, then I'm going to allow myself to get pumped.
I love it. Well, thank you, Often on the Clock viewers, for indulging this little best ball week 17 circle jerk that we had to do here to get excited about our teams. I did just see the update here from Jordan Ronan, a close personal friend of Evan Silva. Malik Neighbors listed as questionable versus the Colts, and Tyrone Tracy does not have an injury designation. LaFleur said the door is still open for Christian Watson to play Sunday at Minnesota. That doesn't sound great. As for Jair Alexander, he said the injury report will be out at 3:00. Wow. Saying just check the tape there. All right, Nez, we'll let you handle some of the 12-person stuff tonight. I think it's time for us to get in the Pick'em lab, my man.
Let's get it.
Pick'em spicy margs.
Radioactive spice.
Let's spice it up, slop it up. I mean,
slide. Just
permission to slide, Your Honor. You sliders! That's a 65X. That makes me feel things. All right. A bummer not to have our guy John here to tout something egregious. What was it last week? If John gets to go on shows after the Mac Jones and be like, you didn't put it in. Didn't he have was Jameson Williams the only thing from our core that didn't hit?
Yeah, Jameson Williams lower that lost in the first half, I think. Great work, buddy. We lose as a team. We win and we lose as a team. That's the rules.
All right. Let's I got to take off this sweatshirt. It's getting like spicy in here. The pick'ems are getting spicy. We're gonna cook here once.
I know. Doing these shows, I feel you. The body temp gets raised quite a bit. I did some serious homework for this segment. I've got a lot of options here for us. I made sure that if we wanted to do a Saturday segment, I had some Saturday picks ready to go just in case. But yeah, no. Do you want to start with the core?
Yeah. Let's start with the core here. I did kind of just want to look at Davante Adams like targets and stuff again. The 5.5 receptions. Looks like we don't have targets yet. This still just seems like a laughable number to me.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. I don't know how Davante Adams is not like I would slide that and give me a plus multiplier if I was doing that at all. Like it just doesn't seem like worth my time to get the 9X.
Yeah. Let's take the 6.5 for 1.23 there. We will do. How about this? You give one here, and then we'll do a joined in memoriam for John Warner pick that we collaborate on for the rest of the core.
Yeah, no, I like that. I want to go to AOC passing yards for mine. This is a tried and true staple for me. AOC, anything until AOC gets priced at 230 or above, like he's just an automatic higher. Any game that he's actually playing and seeing through, he's always hit his higher for passing yards. It's evergreen. I love it, and I don't see any reason that we can't like the spot against New Orleans.
I dig it. AOC here, 224, and just even like it's close to even money on him throwing 2 passing TDs, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Definitely on the deep BR menu.
Mhm.
The more I think about it, especially with Jacoby being largely undrafted. All right, let's both put ourselves in the mind of John. How about this? We put ourselves in the mind of John. Think about what John would want, and then let's do the opposite side of that. Just kidding, John. Let's see. Oh God, he would. We do. Let's check the Thielen because we just drafted Thielen. Dude, this is like the Devontae Adams thing, right? 4.5. He's been at 5.55. He hasn't not cleared this since KC 5 weeks ago.
And this is a great spot against Tampa, right? They have a chance to get pushed in this game. Yeah, I like this. We're gonna do 4.5 since we did we slid up Adams.
Yeah, and then that gets us we're still over the regular 6x. We get the 6.71 there.
Nice.
I like this as a core.
Yeah, I like John. This is absolutely John approved.
There you go, John. This is for you. There's the core. Devontae Adams, Aiden O'Connell, Adam Thielen. Man, if you would have, we spend all summer drafting these young players, all these exciting guys, and you would tell me that our core is Devontae Adams, Adam Thielen, and AOC in week 17.
Life comes at you fast, Pete.
All right. As usual, I'll drop these in the chat. If you're listening after the fact, we'll put them in the comments, show notes. I also round them up in my P.O. Box newsletter that will drop on Saturday mornings if you just want to chase them or tail them there. I believe, Nez, we got to go to a little slop it up.
All right. Let's get sloppy.
So I feel like the slop it up fest is Las Vegas and the Saints.
Yeah.
Or at least the premier slop it up fest, I should say.
Yeah. It's tough because we don't really have a lot of options from the Saints side other than like Kendre, I think is available for us. But when it comes to the Saints, we are like kind of struggling for options here. Nothing on Olave. There's Kendre, but like we don't have a ton to choose from. Did
they have Pettis up here? He was one. He led the team in targets. They don't even have him up right now, probably because of the Olave stuff.
Oh,
what did they say the Kendre was? And they don't even have that.
Yeah.
Is the Olave stuff must be messing this all up right now.
He's a problem for sure. And even the Kamara Q tag, even though we don't think he's going to play, is definitely a hang up as well.
Yeah, they are putting Olave touchdowns in the lobby. Obviously, their risk is pretty non-existent there if he doesn't play. So it's just really touchdowns that they have in the lobby right now. So maybe we need to steer clear of this.
Yeah, I got a few games that I like, but as far as like if we want to truly slop it up, Carolina Tampa Bay does seem like the sloppiest. I like Packers Vikings as well. I like Packers Vikings because like the numbers, the projections are like really, really palatable. It does not to me indicate that projections of anything of like super shootout that I think that this game can get to.
Yeah, let's do it. What is your what's your favorite angle here?
Jordan Love passing yards, and honestly, I think you slide it. I think if you're gonna play this the way it needs to go, like 270, that feels totally fine.
Yeah, we'll slide that up to 270. So get him up to a 1.25. And again, looking at the pick'em markets, they're banking on it's minus money for Jordan Love to throw 2 tutties here.
Yeah. They're seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah. And then if you look at so Jaden Reed's 1.35, Dobbs is 1.49, Wicks is 1.46, Kraft 1.87 there. who would you like to? Which wide receiver do you want to pair him with? Because that's kind of the next question.
Yeah, I think honestly, I like to just go to Justin Jefferson next and then slide him to like 99.5.
Mhm.
Nothing crazy, but just to get a little bit of extra boost because it's hard to not get docked with correlation. So just kind of setting ourselves up to prepare for that it is my preference there. And you can even go higher if you'd like, but I think 99.5 is a good healthy slide for now.
Yeah, I think our target is going to be to get this to about a 20x, and we can
Mhm.
adjust sliders as needed. One thing that's a little bit of a bummer with Dobbs, I would be interested in receptions, but that's
Yeah.
not in the lobby right now. Um, Jaden Reed is the guy I think you like isolate and just like Uber slide
Right.
by
Right.
himself.
Yeah, he can be played here too. It's just what does kind of hurt us is the yardage to yardage pairings. Really kind of hit you hard with the correlation. So if we just do Jaden Reed just to like test it out right now with his like base higher, it gets us to
Yeah.
7x. So that's not like terrible. But if you want to just say, oh, this is like the Jaden Reed, this is the Jaden Reed game, and you go to 70. Now that's like 9x. So two
Right.
different options there for us. But I think these are all like very feasible, very safe within reason slides.
Yeah, and I was just seeing there, so like just to give us framework. So if we get a 1.5, I just toss the Dobbs TD. That gets you a 22.3. So you could dial that back to 59.5. I guess okay, you're hovering right around. You could take Love down to 259.5, and you're right at like 20x there. Again, not saying we have to do Dobbs TD, but just looking at about a 1.5 to get this. Basically, it's a 1.3 to 1.5, and we could slide Jordan Love back up if we wanted here.
Yeah, I think I would. I think that him like going for 270 is kind of like I think that's what makes this whole thing click. Like that, if we get that, then we probably get everything else. Is the way that I'm thinking about this.
Yeah. Let's see. So then we just need that fourth piece. I do like the Dobbs TD.
I do too. I do too. I think we put that in there.
You know what we could do? How about this? I've been kind of enjoying doing this because you can hit it both ways. What if we run this twice, once with the Dobbs TD and once with the Wicks?
Okay. So with Reed at how many yards did you put in for
69
Reed?
and a half.
Okay. And then what's
Or do you want to take Reed down? Because then you could run this. It would be 18.8 with the Dobbs TD, and it would be 18.4 with the Wicks.
yeah, this is for 4. Yeah, let's do
Just
let's
4.
yeah, let's do 59.5 for Reed with Dubs to score. I like that.
Yep.
And then reuse it. And then we're gonna do Reed to score.
Yes.
With Dubs yardage.
Sorry. Oh, I was gonna do Wicks, but I'm good.
Got it.
Basically keeping the core and then just rotating the two kind of harder to hit touchdowns.
Yeah, no, let's do it. Let's do it. Stick with the plan here.
And then it's like you have outs for both of these hitting. But if Reed's getting there on yards, obviously I think if you wanted to spend more time on this, you could mix and match, like do what you were saying, do Reed touchdown, then play one of the guys through yards or whatever. But Reed isn't like a big part of what they do when they're in the red zone. So I kind of like the Wicks and the Dobbs angle there and play yards through a Reed big play.
Yeah, no, I this just like makes sense in my mind. The way that these players have been getting home. Like Dubs does seem to be like the red zone guy. Wicks, seems to be like the medium threat, like scorer, and then Reed just like the chunk play guy. Is the way that I kind of see things going up. But yeah, if you guys if you want to do a Reed touchdown at home, like feel free to just do the same format there.
Yep. You could also toss in Kraft to that as well. I mean, the other game, like, do you know what I kind of just want to do? And this is jumping around a little bit. I just want to giga slide Calvin Ridley and Brian Thomas Jr. in some capacity opposite each other.
I love the duo slides that we do here.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want to slide Calvin Ridley to?
So Ridley, I definitely like the big play angle. I think, 50 yards is a lot to do big play, but I think you probably just do yards with him because it is going to probably just be a couple of plays. I think you just slide him to 120.
Yeah. Let's just play that this game is just a shootout between Calvin Ridley and Brian Thomas.
And then Thomas, with how much volume he gets, I think you could definitely slide him. He's been at 9 and 10 receptions. If you take him up to 9.5, you're already looking at a 55x here.
And that's what is that? 3.8 for receptions?
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to go to like 130 for yardage to get there. 109 receiving yards is like not even 2x. So I like the idea of just doing like the volume for Brian Thomas. Even 8.5 is a better payout than the 109.
I'm going to run this twice. We'll leave Ridley yards because I like that for him getting there a couple big plays. And then I'll ladder it once. I'll do it once as the 8.5, and then take a little crack at the big payout there
at 9 or 10,
9.5.
Okay.
Yeah. Or here, do you want to just ladder it all the way up?
Well, can we do it, or does it max out if you go to, because that's massive. It maxes it out. Yeah, I think 9.5 is just better. You'd have to take down Ridley a little bit to make sure that we're not losing any value on it.
Okay. Let's just so we don't tilt too hard. Let's do one Brian Thomas that's yards.
Okay. With Ridley still.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ridley's getting this, so then it's just kind of figuring out how.
Of course, we're never going to tilt Calvin Ridley. It's only going to be the Brian Thomas tilt. Were you sliding him to 120?
Yeah. Let's see. What do you think? 120.
120 feels.
That's it. Yeah, 39 is good there. Yeah, both of them 119 to 120 yard games.
Who says no?
All right. I don't know if I got all of these in the chat, but
we're sliding Ridley and Brian Thomas for the audio listeners. Just slide them any which way, and you're good.
Yeah, the main thing is we like sliding the yards on Ridley. The volume probably won't be there quite as much, but the big playability is there. And then Brian Thomas sliding him primarily on receptions. All right, that was just one I had in my head. You got any other angles that you want to explore here?
Yeah, I wanted to do a Saturday one. And the one thing that I was thinking about was playing Kyler Murray rushing yards in a way that like makes sense. And so he's like all or nothing with the rushing. So I wanted to slide his rushing to 49.5 and get like 3.3x. Like if he's doing it, like he's going all the way.
Yeah, I like it.
And then you could go same game here, but I don't really like the Rams. To me, have just been like impossible to figure out right now. But I think this Denver Cincinnati game is going to be a lot of fun. So doing it with either like Nick's passing yards, I think makes sense, or Sutton receiving yards, or Chase Brown scrimmage yards are some of my favorite angles on that.
Nice. Do you want to run this as just a twofer, or do you want to?
We can if you see anything else you like on this, like the Chargers Patriots game is kind of interesting too.
I'll be completely honest. I have not looked at anything with the Saturday stuff, so I'm going to default to you on angles here. Let's
just do a single multiplier with Bo Nix passing yards. I feel like that's just like, we're aiming pretty high with this Kyler Murray rushing yards, but I think that this spot against the Bengals, they're going to need to sling in. I think he's going to have some success in the air.
You like this one? Little, I slid it up to 269.5. I mean, he's been over this basically every game except one. I mean, last week he was at 263.
Against a tough Chargers defense. Yeah, I like this. I think they're going to be playing from behind. This game to me just feels like a real shootout waiting to happen.
Yeah. I like it. You want to just lock in a cheeky little two-legger here?
Yeah.
All right. There's a Saturday sweat for you guys. Kyler Murray higher than 39.5 rush yards, and Bo Nix higher than 269.5 passing yards.
Yeah, that's fun.
Dude, speaking of Nez Pick'ems, man, I was so I went to bed before it finished. But the De'Aaron Fox missing that one last night, dude, because you were all over it. And honestly, the fact that it was even close was a miracle with what he did in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable the way that this dude absolutely screwed us. I mean, he had not a single field goal made in the first half. He had like 1 point scored in the first half. Dude, it was with our boost too. I mean, this was like not a single sweat on this pick'em other than De'Aaron Fox. Like McCollum was dead in the first half. Halliburton was, I mean, not a single sweat here, man.
And then it almost went to overtime too, right?
Oh no, and then I got hopeful because like Fox almost like got there on the overtime, like on the shot that would have taken it to overtime. Oh, for the love of God.
And I had, dude, I went to bed because I was like, this is going to be too painful. But I had this team cooking in the cross. And I'm sorry, guys, for indulging you guys or being self-indulgent here. I had Fox like with a 4. And then I had the 50 burgers like across the board. And I was like, oh, this thing can cook. Like this thing can really charge. And then I'm staring and I was like, is the screen broken? Because he's been at 4 points for the entire first half.
Is the screen broken?
Anyways, getting in the hoop street. Speaking of hoops, NBA Dog Bowl. We don't have details yet, but the teaser trailer was out on Twitter, going to be in San Diego sometime in 2025. So if you guys are looking to make a live final and you missed out on the NFL one, NBA version, I assume full details will be announced pretty soon.
I think so too. I know that it's going to be happening sometime in March just because like that's like very close to the end of the NBA regular season. And I am going to be trying my hardest to qualify, but I am not going to be able to make it, which is such a bummer if I do end up qualifying, because that's when Bria's due date is like that.
Yeah.
Month. Cannot leave. That would be hilarious to dip out. That's not be there.
Dude, you could probably end up doing like a pretty fun thing, like with your qualifying ticket, like do a giveaway or, somebody going and using your,
that would be fun.
Your amenities.
Yeah. I would be happy to have somebody take my spot and enjoy the time. But it doesn't mean I'm not gonna stop.
Oh no, you're gonna be in the mix for sure.
Right.
All right, let's do a couple more here.
Yeah.
So let me think about another spot that I'm kind of interested in. We mentioned let's go look at the Tampa Bay Carolina game.
I like that game a lot, man.
We already liked the Thielen. Like I like putting in something we already have from a core into it. I am interested. I mean, like, where are you at on this Mike Evans stuff? I mean, 84.5's a pretty monster number.
It is, right?
Makes it hard to slide.
Yeah, but like even money on the touchdown is like kind of nice. I mean, touchdowns are always like a tricky one to play, but Mike Evans is scoring a touchdown in this game, man. I just and it's even multiplier. Or you got receptions here?
I mean, I'm kind of looking at this like the whole thesis, right, is that he's going to get force fed. Cowboys really sold out to stop him on Monday. They were dropping the safety over him. Apologies for pretending to know ball. I don't know if Carolina's going to be doing that as much. Last time they played, he had 8 catches. He had 9 there. I think if I'm just looking at like plus money on like the low hanging fruit, I think I'd rather take him to 6.5 or 7.5. Like him getting 7 receptions at plus money feels better than trying to bank the touchdown.
Yeah, I think, no, I'm glad that you pointed that out. I'm in agreement with you there. Everybody's saying too that he needs 100 or 98 to get 1,000. So I think that's also in play, but 6.5 is like the same as a 100-yard slide. So I'll take the receptions.
Yeah, exactly. The 100-yard. Yeah, to keep him on that pace. It's a little different when it's like there's still an extra game, right? So like you're doing, it's not like they're saying we have to get him halfway on pace
Yeah,
in this game.
that's true. That's true.
Um,
A 98 average. Okay, yeah, thank you, curated.
let's see here. Honestly, like I do there's a couple things with Bryce Young I like. Almost similar to the Kyler thing. He's been rushing more. He had that big rushing touchdown last week, 68 rushing yards. I like the higher on 16 and a half, and I don't mind sliding it a little bit. I don't want the pain of Bryce Young passing yards in one of our pick'ems again, but I would indulge rushing yards.
All right, yeah, let's do it. Where would you slide it to? Let me look at the game logs again here.
Probably just take it to 30, 29 and a half.
Okay. Yeah.
At 1.85.
I think this is going to be a fun game, and he's likely to scramble and extend some drives here. So let's go 30. I like that.
I think we just got to find like one more to get us into a nice little 20x range. Maybe something with McMillan.
Yeah, I like McMillan. I saw the Bucks put out a hype video of him getting really excited on the sidelines. So that always to me just like is a huge bump in my internal models for a guy. If the teams are putting out hype videos on a player and he's broken out officially.
This kind of feels like the Worthy thing. So one of my I didn't end up hitting it because of course, knowing me, I mixed and matched it with too much bullshit. But I played Xavier Worthy targets on Wednesday, and it was like 7. And it was like you look at how these rookie wide receivers and their roles are expanding. Like to me, when I look at this, you know, he's been at 4, 5, and 5 receptions, narrowly had that other one that was called back or where it got kind of like swiped away from him in the end zone. Like 3.5 receptions at plus money looks really nice.
Yeah, I think that's a simple one, right? You don't even need to do anything fancy with that. I like this.
And yeah, this is at 22. And honestly, I'm even like wondering, like, do we just take Bryce down? Although that's a pretty big jump. Like, what would you rather take? Because it's almost the same. Would you rather slide McMillan up 1 reception and then leave Bryce Young at like 19 and a half?
Yeah. I would. Yeah.
Let's put him at the 16 and a half, that extra 0.1. I like this.
Yeah. I mean, this is still, it's way over the base multiplier for 4.
Yes. All right. Adam Thielen, 4.5. There's no crazy slides here. You know, it's Thielen, 4.5 receptions, Mike Evans, 6.5 receptions, Bryce Young. I did go up to the 1.1, 19.5 rushing yards, Jalen McMillan, 4.5 reception. That's a clean 25xer there.
Yeah. That little bonus helps.
All right.
Boom.
There you go. There's one there. All right, let's see. One or two more. Let's get a couple other fun duo slides.
Let's look at. It's hard to do a duo with this Jets Buffalo game, but I do like doing something in that game just because I think that
let's do it.
Nuts.
I mean, I think any duo on the Jets side has to include Adams.
Yeah, no, he's where everything like begins and ends with this.
Do you should we do slide his receptions from the core? Do you want to go yards with him?
I always think receptions just gives you like such better bang for your buck when you're doing multipliers. What do you like 8.5? Like not even like something crazy, just 8.5, 3x. And then the Bill side is where this is like where we got to really kind of get creative.
So, I mean, the one that to me doesn't take creativity is like, and I know I don't need to sell you on James Cook, but
yeah, I love James Cook.
He's the Jaden Reed of, you know, the bit where it's like he could burn you, but if you're using him, like you want to use him in a super slide because he just rips off these big plays.
Yeah, what can we do scrimmage yards for him? I mean, 124. I mean that's the max, but you can do 100 scrimmage yards for 144x, but that's not nearly enough to make it move for us.
Yeah, I'm just seeing there, like that's a 27x, 124. Yeah. The other thing, do they have longest rush here for him? They have longest reception, but no slide. Is there not longest rush? Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Because that's the other thing I'm interested. Like 29 and a half, that gets you 3x. I mean, that's kind of interesting. But I'm with you. I kind of like the scrimmage yards one.
Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm into that. And then doing like 124.5. Because he's like one of the biggest pieces of this Bills offense. And I think part of, we're going to need this game to be close for him to stay on the field, so that way they're not, cycling in Ray Davis or Ty Johnson here. So I think this helps. Usually we get a little bit crazier with these duos.
Why don't we ladder this once up? So let's do this. The higher than 8.5, higher 124.5.
Yep.
And then let's boost it.
Take Devontae to 10 receptions.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Now we're building.
Yeah. And then let's see. So yeah, if you take Adams to 10 and then Cook, what does that get us to? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the stuff.
Yeah. Then we're at the 52 there.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
All right. There's the slide.
And I mean, you don't have to do this. If you wanted to swap out the receptions for 120 receiving yards for Devontae Adams, I wouldn't fault anybody for wanting to get in on that as well. It's the same thesis. It's
just embracing what those guys want to do.
Yeah.
Let's see. The only other super slide, it's circling back since we didn't end up doing it. How about a super slide with Jane Reed and Jordan Addison?
Okay.
To speed the game up, bros.
Yeah. It's kind of a fun angle doing it with Addison instead of Jefferson. And we've seen obviously Addison just like get home.
If you take Addison, if you do both of these guys to clear 100 yards, that's a 34x there.
Oh yeah. That seems good.
Yeah.
That's a fun way to play it because I think we really like that game, and that's a good way to play it.
And then just because I can't help myself with this laddering stuff, I am going to just take the extra slide. I'm just taking the extra Addison up one a notch.
Sure. As you should. And you know what? I wouldn't fault anybody for swapping out Addison for 2 touchdowns either. I wouldn't say anybody shouldn't do that. Holy shit, that's like an 8x. I have to take Reed down a notch to not lose any multiplier on that to 89.5 with 2 touchdowns. There you go. Oh, okay. There we go. There we go.
We've been making a ton of 2 picks. It's minimum 2 picks.
Yeah.
And not 2. Been doing a bunch of 2s.
Hit me up in the DMs, Justin. I don't know what you're talking about. Let me know.
I love this is where we get everybody riled up. 4 TDs for Baker instead of Thielen, 106x. I love this. Ned would rather slide it to 4 TDs for Baker instead of going to therapy / putting Adam Thielen in a pickup.
What would you do, Baker 4 touchdowns instead? That's crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. I kind of like it, but that's crazy.
What do you got one more you want to do here? You know who we need to do one with?
Who?
We need to do something with Bowers.
Yeah. Do you want to do we dare do Bowers and McBride? Or is that just we're threading too small of a needle there?
I mean, what if they put the touchdown? I mean, this should be like 3.68 for him scoring a touchdown.
It's honestly like they need to do us a favor here. We're just chasing this.
This bottom out game for McBride last week was just so tilting.
Yeah, I how do you want to do Bowers?
Let's see. He's coming off an 11 reception game. I mean, you literally run back what he just did. It's an 8.44.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, he literally just did this.
He almost did it twice.
Man. All right.
I like it.
Well, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no to that.
No, it's on my screen as well.
I mean, I'm just thinking some low hanging fruit here. Like,
yeah, no, I like it. Not asking too much of the second leg.
Let's run this twice, once with Thielen and once with Adams.
Okay. You do receptions for?
Yeah, reception. Do what with Chess Liam's team.
I think, yeah, that's a good way to soften the blow for people. What are you doing for Thielen? 5.5 or the 4.5?
Yeah, let's take him to 5.5. Live a little.
Yeah. Why not? Justin, make sure that you're doing standard. Like, you can choose standard or flex.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're on standard. That's might be your problem.
Where am I looking? Yeah, I saw that comment there too. Yeah, so sometimes it'll default to like the flex. Yeah, just make sure it clicks over. Okay, one more where we take some of our favorite super slides, and we max out the payout. So, but we got to bring them down to like reasonable numbers. You know what I mean?
So you want to do like you want to do like a 250x?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, we have to thread the needle on that one.
Right. So I'm just gonna put in a few of these just with the like slight slides.
Okay. Yeah, Ridley.
Put in Bowers.
Mm-hmm. What do we got Bowers at? Or what are you thinking?
Let's take him up like 2.
I gotta refresh to him.
Take him up to 8.5. Take Devontae up to 7.5. So that gets you to 130x there.
Yeah. How do we get this thing? How do we hashtag make it bigger?
Let's see. Yeah. Who's your highest confidence of these 4?
I really think Devontae Adams.
Yes.
I think.
Let's take him to 8.5. That already did it.
That did it. Yeah. I want to see something here real quick.
Are we maxed out though? Like
that's what yep. I'm wondering if we are like how maxed out we are right now.
It's really close.
If
I take Ridley down to 69.5, it's 184. So we might actually be like on the dot.
Yeah, I think we need to. Yeah, we need to adjust here. So wait, what are you at right now?
I'm at 200. So if I take Ridley down from a 1.39 to a 1.19, I'm at 184.
I think we should do that.
Okay. So this is clean. It's all 3 of these guys getting 9 receptions.
Oh, that's
fun. Ridley gets 69.5 yards.
Nice.
They're maxing me at $21. That's how we do.
Yeah, because you're peer to peer. You're beating out the competition with this one.
Draining the champions pool.
That's hilarious.
All right, there you guys go. I feel like we've done our job here today.
I love seeing all these pick'ems on Sunday. Like, what the hell do we do again? And it's just the most ridiculous.
It is. I have like I don't know if you've ever like you see some people the way they like reveal their hole cards when they're playing poker, and like mainly if you're playing like a Omaha or something where you have more than 2 cards in, and you slowly reveal each card one at a time instead of looking at them. That's how I am with my sweats on Sunday. Like I first hop into the pick'ems and I'm like, let's see what these are. Then once the 4 p.m. game started, I'm like, start looking at some teams, and then I just like the slow, build up of the sweat.
Yeah, that's exactly how I do it too. I'm not like locked in on it. It's just like, do I have something? And then I don't even want to know what I have or what I need.
Yes. And yes, the officially Jalen Hurts ruled out. So it is Kenny Pickett's is in 14 targets for AJ Brown, who says no. Kamara, Derek Carr officially listed out here. Nez, we missed our buddy John this week. Any final words for you here?
Yeah, I'll just be on the Bad Bros channel tonight, behind the paywall for our members, $5 a month to join up, doing more drafts, do a couple goal line stands, but mostly going to do some playoff best ball tonight. So if you guys are not membered up there, we'd appreciate it. Supports us, and you get some more shows. So that's me tonight. And yeah, Pete, good luck with your chow chows.
Yeah, you
Chow
too
chow.
as well. And yeah, and everyone else, I know there's all kinds of different sweats across the landscape. Good luck. I know it's a kind of a brutal way to sweat it out with Saturday and Sunday. But yeah, check out the No Strip stream tonight. I'll be back. I booked Leone for After Dark on Saturday tomorrow, so that'll be fun. And then the Cram on Sunday. And yeah, we'll see you guys around the Discord. Good luck this weekend for Nez. I'm Pete. This is Off and on the Clock. We'll see you guys next time.